my God.
I feel like we open every single episode with us just like laughing.
Yes, it's become the de facto girl.
Um, well, I texted you yesterday, and what did I say? I was like, season three, baby. Because I
Back.
feel like we're back. We had a long hiatus. We took a year off. We are in our Pierpaolo Piccioli era. We needed a break,
We did. We
just like he
did.
did. And
Yeah.
now we're back and we're better than ever. And like him, I mean, I'm not rushing to Balenciaga just yet, but you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, we're back.
Yeah. We're back. We're
We
back. I
needed
love
a
how we
break.
we just compared ourselves to one of the greatest design. His Eat, Pray,
And
Love.
like, do you know what I mean? Like sometimes we we had lunch recently, you and me, and we talked about just like like podcasting is really fucking hard. Like
Yeah.
I think a lot of people think that it's just like easy, like just like getting on and like yapping, which it can be that.
Yeah.
But I think for us as people that literally like live and breathe our jobs, fashion, everything, like sometimes since this is what we talk about on the podcast, I feel like it felt like a job,
Yeah.
and after like the editing and the marketing and the keeping up with social, it just like it starts to weigh on you after a while. So we're in a new era. We're trying to figure it out
Yeah.
in a different way.
I love it. I
And this
mean,
is exciting.
I saw this TikTok. I've been a heavy, like heavily active on TikTok, and one of the girls that I follow that I love, her name is Brooke Devard. I'm not sure if you know her. She
No,
has
I don't. I'm gonna
she
write
has
it
her
down.
own podcast, and I still haven't delved super into what she does or who she is, but she's always at like a Beyonce concert or like a Beyonce event or something like fashion beauty related. I think she used to work for Ralph Lauren like back in the like I don't she was like I don't know, but she was talking about precisely this, like
Yeah.
the amount of work that it takes to have a podcast. And I think like you just said, I think the the hardest part about it, I think, is like the consistency. You know what I mean? Because we always have something to say and we're always gonna yap. And yapping
Yeah.
is easy. Like eh, you know what I mean?
That's my actual profession. I don't know if anyone knows this. You do.
Professional yapper. I know. I call myself Sir Yappington.
Shut up. Yeah, like, but that said, as a professional yapper, this is again like a job. Do you know what I mean?
It
So,
can be.
and because of our schedules, yeah, because of our schedules and whatever, but we just needed a break.
Yeah.
Sometimes you need to step away to
Yeah.
realize, I think, too, like how much you actually enjoy doing something. Because sometimes when you get into it and you're just like, and this happens to me at work sometimes too, like I'll get really, I don't know if you feel this way. Like sometimes if I'm on like a really like steady run of like shopping for clients or, just if depending on like what the project is, but mostly like shopping, I feel like this will sometimes happen to me where it's like I just like everything is ugly, and obviously that
Um,
happens with like seasons sometimes and whatever, but
yeah.
sometimes if I'm just like doing it too much and I don't come out to like look at it objectively,
Yes.
I kind of lose sight of why I love it. And so
Absolutely.
even like with work, sometimes like, in my slow periods, I miss it. But like
Yeah.
sometimes if I'm like working a lot, I'm like, oh, this is the most annoying job. I hate it.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. I think for me what happens is I grow to resent the thing that I created. You know what I mean? It's like I
Yes.
yeah,
Yes.
what is it? I think there's a couple of memes that I love. It's like it's usually like FKA Twigs crying or someone like crying and it's like me working at the job that I myself created for myself. Like
Yeah.
and
No, straight up.
but that I've learned for me, at least for like for my own personal experience, like it comes from workaholism. Like it's this tendency
Yeah.
for me to just dive into work to avoid everything else. And yeah, sometimes, like, I mean, of course, the
Mhm.
deadlines and people needing things yesterday, doesn't help. And clients not communicating things doesn't help. But for me,
Yeah.
since we last spoke, I think, yeah, I was kind of like doing the inventory on what it is that I like this morning. It's so interesting we're talking about this
Mhm.
precisely because, I love to write. Like, I love to write.
Yeah,
And if I could
me
write,
too.
just I love to write. And that feeling of, oh, this is everything, when you see everything ugly. For me,
Yeah.
I'm like, nothing makes sense. These words don't make sense. What am I even trying to convey? Are people even reading? You know what I
Mhm.
mean? And it becomes, you forget why
Yeah.
you're doing it, and the reason is always
Yeah.
like, the reason should always be you're doing it for yourself. But it's hard to, it's like, it's akin to not taking things personally when things are being told to you. It's like when someone's
Mm,
yelling at you, you're like, well, this isn't about me. But then you're like, wait, you're yelling at me though. I think that's how I see work
yeah.
sometimes. I'm like, yeah, it's interesting. It's like I see work like that sometimes. I'm like, wait, I'm like, I love my job. It's my passion, but there has to be a break from me identifying solely as what I do for a living, And I think that
Yeah.
this
Yeah.
comes with like the creative territory. It comes with being your own boss. And I
Mhm.
think, and fashion is it's so demonstrative. Like, you see it and you're like, you want to be imbued by, at least that's my, like, my experience. I'm like, you want to be imbued by it. And then after a
Yeah.
while I'm like, wait,
Yeah.
it's not brain surgery. Like, we're not saving lives. Like, I can relax.
Yeah.
you know
Literally, it's like it's just a skirt, babe.
it's just a skirt, babe. It just needs a
Or
hem.
whatever. What?
Like, it's
Yeah, your life isn't over. We can literally just take it to the tailor.
I know. Oh my God.
This is an easy fix.
But it's all the ego tied to that thing. So, speaking of
Yeah.
being imbued by
That's so
clothes,
funny.
I just got back from New York literally yesterday, and it was amazing.
Okay, yes, please. I need the recap. I need all the details
Play by play.
because when we had lunch, which I think was just last weekend, right?
Oh
I
my
saw you the
God,
weekend before,
yeah.
and then we had lunch the weekend last weekend.
Yeah,
But
literally.
you had said you were like, did you hear about, Jane Birkin's Birkin? And I was like,
Yes.
yes. I was like, I think it's so cool, and da da da. And then we just kind of like discussed it.
Yeah.
And then I think it was a few days later, I got a text from you, and you were like, bitch, I'm going to New
I'm
York to
going.
see the band.
Yeah.
And I just like exclaimed it or whatever because I was like, of course you are. Like, of course you are. I would too.
First of all, I don't know why that felt like it was months ago. Like, our lunch felt like it was months ago because I do recall what we
Yeah.
ate, but there was also, I think, everything kind of, there were tears, there were laughter, there was Carrie Underwood
There
came
was there
out.
were tears. Yeah,
But
there was a lot of food. You took me to Peruvian, which I again like don't think I've ever had Peruvian food, and it was so fucking good. I
yeah.
I couldn't believe it. I couldn't
Yep.
believe it. And it was again like we were talking about this like sometimes it's those like holes in the wall that just
Absolutely.
have like the best, and with LA especially just to like sidebar for a second. With LA, my friends and I were actually talking about this last night
Hmm.
where everything has to be a fucking like big deal or like an event or like, oh my God, this new restaurant is like, whatever themed, we should go. Or like, it always has to be like flashy. Where it's like
Okay.
sometimes I literally just want to go and have delicious food and like, I don't know, like enjoy myself. I don't
Yeah.
need like the hot young place on TikTok all the
Oh,
time. I do
yeah.
enjoy that. I love food. But sometimes I just want to go and like have a really tasty meal with my friend.
Yeah.
And that's what we did. And it
I
was
think.
the best place.
Yeah, I think inherently it's the type of cuisine that you go for as well. Peruvian food
Mm,
is so hearty. It's like potatoes, steak, seafood, like mixed in with more, it's
yeah.
like we had potatoes with what I can only describe as like Peruvian hollandaise sauce. You know what I mean? Like
Yes. Oh my
as
God.
a
Oh
starter. I'm
my
getting
God, that
hungry
potato.
already.
I know.
But
I'm like, should we go again?
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we should definitely go again. Especially now, I think
Yeah.
there was an underlying sort of like issue for the day, with the ice raids and everything going on in Los
Yeah.
Angeles, and how we're currently being affected by it, because it is affecting everyone. Yesterday was the No Kings March was just like the tip of the iceberg. Like, it was just culminating point for the
Yeah.
entire week and everything that we witnessed. But yeah, I think I was doing the inventory because it's something that I've been taught to do either in the morning or at night, just like really thinking, right? It's like your own personal recap. And I was thinking to myself, why did
Mhm.
I just grab my bags and go to New York on a whim? Because it was a twofold opportunity or a twofold decision,
Mhm.
really, because the ice raids started on Friday. And then by Monday,
Yeah.
it was like, the girls and I here were trying to come up with ways on just how to approach, what to say or how to help out. Like, I feel like it's always
Yeah.
my, like community first always. And I saw, and I think it was on Monday, I had the inkling because my friends had been texting me like the week before, telling me that
Mhm.
Birkin was at Sotheby's. And I kept on telling them, I was like, where have you guys been? I'm like, I'm like, her Birkin they've been talking about this for a while. But then, of course, not everyone
Yeah.
like lives at the auctions. You know what I mean? But I did tell my friends, I was like,
Right.
well, we
Right.
work with Sotheby's now. So, like, of course, we're privy to this information first. But, it's,
Yeah.
but the kicker, so I'm in direct contact with Lucy. She goes by the fashion auctioneer on Instagram, and
Mhm.
she used to work for Carrie Taylor, okay? She used to be Carrie Taylor's.
She did, because she's British, right? Or
Yup.
Is she English? Okay.
Yup, Lucy Bishop. So Lucy used to work for
Yeah.
Carrie in London, and she worked for Carrie for, I want to say, 15 to 20 years, and then she made the leap. Yeah, she made the leap to Sotheby's, and at Sotheby's, she has an
Wow.
amazing position where she basically heads the fashion department at Sotheby's. So when Lucy
That is so
contacted,
sick.
it is sick. It is sick. It's incredibly demanding because she also works in sales. So there's
Oh
the
my
part,
God.
yeah, there's the part of Sotheby's
Yeah.
fashion where they have the handbags, and
Mhm.
anyway, so which leads me to the handbags. So I contacted her and I was like, Lucy, I was like, so one of our bags, the Louis Vuitton Centennial bum bag, is at Sotheby's right now,
Yeah.
and it's going up at auction. I believe it's on the 18th of this upcoming
Ooh.
week, June 18th, right? So it's part of
Okay.
it's
Yeah.
part of
That's in
luxury.
3 days.
Yeah, so it's part of luxury week at Sotheby's, and they have these it's like
Mm-hmm.
beautiful bags and beautiful gowns. They have these like
Can I say
beautiful.
something really quick?
Tell me.
I just want to say, like, luxury week at Sotheby's is literally every week.
Oh yeah,
Like, because I'm on their email list, and I'll get like, it's like, ooh, luxury week, a luxury week. And I like every time I get those emails, I'm like, bitch, everything that you have is
is
luxury,
luxury. Yeah,
essentially.
yeah, yeah.
And I'm like, but I like love that that's what they call it. And it's just every time it like literally like tickles my pickle. I'm like, what are they talking?
Same thing with Carrie Taylor's titles, passion for fashion. I'm like, I love you, Carrie, but
Yeah.
couldn't you come up with a different like? But
It's like repeated, which I'm like, okay, branding, we love branding, but it's like, guys, like everything that we do here, it's just something that yeah. But I'm glad that the bag is part of luxury week because that
yeah,
does deserve to be.
put a
Yes.
pin on Sotheby's branding, all right? Put a pin on Sotheby's branding. Like we're gonna come back to that. So right, so
Yes.
I texted Lucy and I was like, Lucy, so where is my bag? Like, I know Jane Birkin's bag is there right now. So, and I looked at the what? So I looked at the scheduling, right?
I
The
know
chat.
Jane's bag is there, but where's my
Oh,
bag?
girl, no, wait, hold
Hurry.
I'm so glad you're laughing because only you and my ex-boyfriend laughed at this, okay? My ex-boyfriend was like, I'll
I mean,
yeah, yeah. So I was like, okay, well, where's my Louis Vuitton bum bag? And she was like, and I asked her, I'm like, is it on display? You know, like they put my breastplate on display last
yeah.
November and it sold for $54. And it was beautiful. They had
Yeah.
a whole opening. I think it was like the second fashion icons event that they had. So
Oh.
it was very
Yeah.
special.
Yeah. Yeah.
Luxury week, like you said, luxury week is kind of like every other week for them. So they didn't make a whole
Yeah.
big deal. They did have an event centered around the Hermès charm culture where they invited, women of high
Mm.
society and, people that are
Yeah.
clients of Sotheby's to make charms for their Birkins and their Kellys and, So I
Cute.
I know I was like, why didn't I get the invite? But so I called Lucy and I'm like, okay, where's my bag? And she's like, well, it can be here next to Jane's bag if you come. And I'm like,
I love that lure. It's like, well,
yeah.
you put in
So
the work and then we'll, yeah, put it out.
exactly. So I called her bluff. I was like, that was Monday. By Tuesday, I was already looking at flights, and by Wednesday, I was there. And that's when I texted you because
Yeah.
I texted Lucy too.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, I'll see you in New York. because 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 Jane Birkin's bag was leaving on Thursday. So I only had one day, Wednesday,
Oh.
to see the bag
Oh.
at Sotheby's New York because
Yeah.
the Birkin bag is being sent to Paris because there's going to be
Right.
because it's opening, I believe. At least this is what I'm reading. It's opening fashion icons in Sotheby's Paris.
Paris.
So that'll be July 10th.
Oh.
And yeah, so the speculation, according to Inside Edition, is that the bag will fetch over $1 million or it might hit the $1 million threshold, which could probably make it the most
Wild.
expensive bag ever sold. Yeah. So,
Yeah.
so, Lucy puts
Yeah.
my
What else is there?
so Lucy puts my bum bag right across from Jane's bag, and it was I'm insufferable. I'm insufferable. Like it's I'm
We know.
oh my God. I'm s- I'm just glad God gave me the gift of gab and like going
Yeah.
back to that and just uh charm, you know what I mean? I'm like
That's
you just
amazing though.
yeah,
Yeah.
because who like come on. I'm like I was telling my assistants, I'm like, who the fuck do I think I am calling up Sotheby's and being like, can you put my bag next to Jane's
I
for a photo
mean,
op?
but if you didn't, right, then that moment wouldn't have happened and who knows? Like, I mean, I hate to say this. I hope that your bag gets what it's worth and more,
Yeah.
right? But it's like because of that, because you have that content and you have those images and you have, that experience, that heightens value of it, right?
I mean,
So as, not I don't want to limit, what you do to like salesmen, but
yeah,
because this is your job
yeah.
and one, your passion for fashion, your passion
Shout
for
out
fashion
Carrie Taylor.
only
Yeah.
drives, shout out Carrie, only drives and supports the pricing of your items. You know what I mean? Like that's marketing, babe. That's marketing 101,
I know,
like we
Brooke.
always say.
I know. No, I know. Trust me.
So
I,
yeah, if you wouldn't have done that, then, sometimes you have to just like, you know, go for it.
well, I
And you
think
did, certainly.
it's so funny because like we're talking about the passion for fashion, and so when I posted the photo of me next to Jane Birkin's bag, Serena from She's Underrated, she commented and she
Yeah,
said
of course.
she was like right where you belong, and I responded, luxury week is home.
I mean, yes, we all live, we all want to live in luxury week.
Yeah, I love, right, we all want
When you're
to.
us, luxury week is every week, darling.
What they don't
Back to it.
see, right? I know, right? What they don't see is me taking the fucking LAX shuttle to downtown being a girl.
Oh,
But
come on. Everyone does that. LAX is a fucking nightmare.
oh, I mean, yeah, no, no, no. It especially no. Oh my God, that was wild. But not the whole transit thing, but just being in downtown and then getting hit with like the
Oh,
curfew
yeah.
text message, and I'm like, I literally texted my friend, and I was like,
Yeah.
I'm too brown to be here right now. Like, I'm like, I need to get out. Um, but I
Yeah.
got
It's,
I got to Sotheby's, and mind you, I'm running on 1 hour of sleep because we're
yeah.
formulating.
Do you sleep on flights?
Well,
You told me that you took the red eye,
I took the red eye
right?
first class.
Yeah.
So my yeah, yeah. So I I think the nice Filipina banker at Chase back in 2012 who told me to get a credit card that gave me miles. So for
Not yet.
yes. So I'm not gonna name drop because we're not being sponsored by
2012.
them yet. But
2012.
2000.
Oh my God.
Yup. And guess what? I've accumulated enough miles. I accumulate enough miles every single year. Last year I flew to Japan for
Yeah.
90 bucks, and the last minute ticket that I purchased with American Airlines to New York, first class,
Yeah.
$33. Uh from there and coming back. $33.
Incredible.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I looked it up and it was like that was like a 40, wait, was it? I think it was a $4,000 value. I'm like, I'm not no, I mean, like, I love my
First
job.
class. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah, first class. I mean, and going back to that, right? It's like if you don't, so there's two things too. Like I always look at the duality of my actions, and first it's always like the intention, right? It's like, why are you
Yeah.
going? Like, is it for marketing? Is it for ego? Or is it because you want to make a point? What is it, And so for
Yeah.
this trip, I'm like, well, I have to be there. First of all, I want to see Jane's Birkin in real life. Like
Yeah.
this is the prototype. Like I think there are
Yeah.
currently on Sotheby's website, there are currently 7 facts that you did not know about the Birkin. So it has, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Oh, do you have them memorized? What are they?
I have a couple memorized, right, right, because they're so astonishing. And I remember
Yeah.
going in, and the bag is in the lower part of Sotheby's. Like you have to descend a couple of steps, and it's by itself. It's on a podium, and it has this beautiful photo of Jane Birkin blown up, and her Birkin bag is on the floor. Yeah, and it has all the stickers and everything, and there is the backstory, right? It says right next to it the original
Hmm.
Birkin, and the Birkin is in the middle. And the Birkin, one of the interesting facts about it, it's the prototype. So the sizing of it, it's not it's when they say it's the only one in the world, it's really the only one in the world. It's like in the past,
Yeah.
we've
Yeah.
discussed sizing for Kelly's and Birkins, and it goes by centimeters. And this one,
Hmm.
Jane's bag, falls nowhere in that. So it's like you'll see it. It's kind of like if you handle
Wild.
Birkins, and if you handle like, and if you see them, her Birkin is like it stands out because there is no other sizing like this. So they're still trying to figure out the size. It
Yeah.
has straps, Okay, it has a shoulder strap.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah,
It had the shoulder strap.
yep, that's something that a lot of people didn't know
Weird.
because it was, it was made for Jane. But after that, they took the straps off, and not a single Birkin has ever had a strap, a crossbody strap. It has nail clippers that Jane attached to the bag. Yeah,
What?
yeah,
Okay, hold on. So that means, I mean, essentially, that our girl Jane, was she like clipping her nails in public? I'm sorry, I just have to bring this up because that is so gross.
yeah. You think so? I mean, I love that that stands out to you. Yeah,
Yes, because okay, I have to shout out an old friend of mine,
tell me, tell me.
Sam, who is an amazing tour manager and he works with a lot of cool bands. But he has this like series that he does on Instagram because working with a band, you travel a lot, he flies all the time. So he posts a lot of stuff that's like just like gross human things that people do on like an airplane. So it's like
Hmm.
he'll like, somebody's like barefoot on a plane, like
Oh
he'll like post
yeah,
it, or like he always like complains about like etiquette, let's say, right?
yeah.
And I think this was a long time ago. Somebody was like clipping their
Oh
nails
yeah,
on the fucking airplane. And so there's certain things like that, or like if I see somebody like clipping their nails like out in public,
yeah.
it's just like that's not do that at home. Like just do
Absolutely.
that. You know what I mean? Do
There's there
that at
are
home.
speaking on that, there are various superstitions that say that nail clippings are actually utilized to do like witchcraft and things like that. So
Yes,
yeah, 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 yeah.
girl, she's out
Yeah.
here leaving her shit like all over Paris. Come
Yeah.
on.
I you're hilarious for that. But
It feels very un-French to me too. Like,
but it makes
but
sense for
maybe not. I don't know.
it makes sense for her though. It makes sense for Jade because if you see how she treated this bag and
Oh yeah, yeah. And
you
because it was like more of she used it more of like luggage almost, right? Like an everyday like carry all. Like
well,
piece it was almost like more luggage vibe.
yeah, that is the whole premise to the bag, it's that's why
Yeah.
Alexander Dumas made it for her because as the lore goes, for anyone listening that doesn't know, Jane in the 80s was sitting down next to Alexander Dumas, who was then the CEO of Hermès, and her basket that she was always carrying and her notebook, or like they fall on him because she's just has too much stuff with her. And so,
Yeah.
and he asks her, right? The CEO asks her, and he's like, why don't you carry a portfolio with you? Or like, why don't you? And then she looks at him, she's like, because Hermes doesn't make one. And he's like, well, I'm Hermes. He's like, let's come up with something. So as the lore goes, and this is from Jane herself, she says she drew the bag that she wanted on a vomit bag where you like,
On the
yeah,
because they met on a plane,
they met on
right?
a
Yeah.
plane. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's it.
Yeah.
And that was the prototype. And then so in 1984, the bag was conceived and it was christened the Birkin, after Jane Birkin. And
Hmm.
the rest is history. And so
Yeah.
so yeah, she has nail clippers attached to it. The hardware is not gold, it's brass. And what else?
Oh.
it has her initials on it. It has
Whoa.
JB on it. The sticker residue, you can still see it. And
Mm-hmm.
I
Because yeah, did she remove the stickers herself, or did
no.
they? I can't
So
imagine that they would have done it,
the
but
stickers were removed by the second owner, you could say. Oh,
oh,
yes.
so this hasn't come direct from her estate,
No,
or
no. So
oh,
Jane donated the bag for charity in 2010, I believe. And someone purchased
oh,
it. A vintage collector purchased the bag. And
do you know
after
who it is? You don't have to say, but do you know who it is?
oh, I already looked at it. Yeah, it's on Vanity Fair. I already did the research. Like,
Oh,
yeah.
wait, then who is it? It's public. It's public
It's
information. Who
public,
is it?
yeah. Um
Drag her.
oh, I'll expose her. Um, so it had okay.
My dog is very excited.
Oh,
Go away. Go in the
so
other room.
it says here in the Vanity Fair article, it's hardly okay. Obtaining a Birkin is often an initiation process. It's hardly surprising then that this very first model should be the object of much envy. It has already been sold twice. The first by Jane herself in aid of Solidarité Sida in 1994, so the AIDS Foundation
Okay, so for charity.
for charity.
Yeah.
Then again in 2000, when it joined the private collection of Catherine Beunier, founder of vintage boutique Les Trois Marches in Paris. So
Hmm.
Catherine is selling it and
Interesting. So whoever bought it from the AIDS charity
sold it to
event
Katrina.
or Katrine, one of those people
Yeah.
removed the stickers. We assume.
Yes, 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 yes. Yeah. So yeah. Because I was like, why would you remove the stickers? It's so part
I
of
know. That's like,
the look, you know what I mean? The aesthetic and so funny because I was, you know, we had many interactions with many people. It was very, it was rather endearing to see a lot of women come in with their Birkins and like taking photos next to
mm,
it was like an attraction. Like it was like I felt like I was at an amusement park at one
yeah.
point. You know what I mean? And so this like and you know I have my beaten up Kelly from like 1978 that I love and I carry with me everywhere. It's beautifully like oh should we wait?
Oh, siren. Yeah, I hear it.
I love LA.
Yeah, exactly. This is my dog's tail. It's like he's pacing.
So the what was I saying? Girl we're professional yappers.
I know, and I'm
We're
like, wait, what were you just saying?
well
Oh,
the Birkin, yeah. The
yeah. Oh,
attraction. It was a
it was like
museum
a, like the
attraction. Yeah.
amusement
It was
park.
like an amusement, yeah.
Here we go. Here we go.
Maybe it was good we took a break from the pod.
I don't know. Was
Uh,
it?
I don't know. Are we fully back? Are they fully there?
I
No. So the it was like a museum attraction and I remember I was carrying around my own Kelly, my Oxblood 1978 32 Kelly and this one French lady comes up to me and she was like, I'm surprised that the Birkin bag didn't go to Charlotte, Jane's um daughter. She was like, I'm surprised that
Yep.
the bag didn't go to Charlotte, Jane's daughter. And she looked at my bag and she was like, oh my God, did you? She was like, did you do that to your bag? Because my bag is like, it's not falling apart, but it's, you know, my muse, Mary
It's
Kate,
well loved.
it's well
Yeah.
loved.
Yeah.
And she was like, oh, I could never do that to my bag. I have a black one that my friend bought for me back in yada yada. And I'm like, I looked at her. We had a long discussion about, you know, life and things like that and where we were both from. She was from France. And I ended it and I looked at her and I'm like, we're gonna die. Like, you, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
use your bag. And I'm
Yeah.
there
That's
at
literally what it's for.
just you. Yes. Um, you know, my whole thing is museum acquisitions. You know, if it's in a museum catalog somewhere, chances are I'll want it, chances are I'll find it
Yeah.
eventually, you know, and then sell it. And people always ask me,
Yeah.
how do you bring yourself to selling such beautiful whatever it is, you know? Or how do you bring yourself to wearing it? And I'm like, think about it like this. If it's an item of clothing inherently it has a function, you know? What
Yeah.
gets me now is the premise under which, or the premise by which we're now selling and purchasing these pieces. You know what I mean? It's like,
Mm-hmm.
got like for example, I was wearing this. You saw the Galliano coat from 1985, the spring
Yeah.
summer, right?
Of course.
First collection ever after his Central St. Martin's graduate collection. First commercial collection
Yes.
ever. And I, you know, we styled it for Julian's auctions. which we were hired to do. And one of the comments that
Yeah.
I got was this lady, and she said, "I can't believe you're wearing it. I can't." She's like, oh, she's like, I'm. She didn't say. She said cringe, but I think she meant wince. She was like, I'm like
Yeah.
wincing and I'm like squirming. And she's like, but I'm so happy for you. She said, it must be a dream to be wearing these things. And that's precisely
Yeah.
what it is. It's like when Jane Birkin's bag came
Yeah.
out, like even Jane herself denounced the the importance that people were placing on these bags. And if you recall,
Yeah.
when Hermes started making the alligator bags, Jane was a humanitarian. She was a social justice warrior. She contacted Hermes and told them, "I do not want my name attached to this bag anymore. If you're going to be using
Got it.
animals, they didn't listen."
Hmm.
And it's, I
Yep.
believe, purported or reported that she never saw a single dime from the sales of that bag either, you know? She said it herself. She's like, she was,
Dude.
I think so. Hmm.
Like a cut. Do you know what I mean? Like a yearly stipend, or, it doesn't necessarily have to be like, I mean, should it be tied to sales of the bag? Yes, it should. It's her freaking name, for Christ's sake.
Oh,
But at least like,
no.
you know,
Then
a salary.
we
Let's
may
give her
have
a salary.
we may have to retract that because in fact I just did, yeah, we may have to retract that because in fact Jane did receive money
Babe
from
got her
Hermes.
bag. Babe got two bags.
Yeah. Hermes paid Jane Birkin an annual royalty for the use of her name on the iconic Birkin bag. This was initially a nominal payment and later grew to a substantial amount, with reports suggesting it was around £30,000 in 2012, which is approximately $40,000 a year. Jane consistently donated this
That's it?
money. I know. Yeah, girl.
That's
Yeah.
how much a bag costs.
But babe, Brooke, remember that the Mini Kelly was $2,000 when it came out. It's not, it was
I
never
know.
meant, the thing is, like, it was never meant to be a 45,000, a Mini Kelly now sells for 25 to 27.
Yeah.
A Mini Kelly. My big ass Birkin,
Crazy.
I think it was a 30 or, yeah, my big ass Birkin that I sold 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
I sold it huge, mind you, like a beautiful red, like
That was a bit, yeah,
Birkin
that
bag.
one was big.
It sold for
Yeah.
less than $10,000. I mean, it probably, because that's not well, I mean, that
Wait,
pricing, which I think is cheap.
that was original pricing.
The original pricing, I don't know. I think the
Yeah.
original pricing was less because it came out in 2002.
Wild.
Yeah, so no, I'm telling
Mm.
you, it's like the way people are collecting pieces now, it's like it's akin to art collecting. Like
Yeah.
we could go on and
Yeah.
on about this all day long, but
Yeah.
I
Well, remember, didn't Chelsea say, and I know we've talked about this a few times, we talk about Hermes a lot
a
on
lot.
this podcast, but I remember, and I would love to see the numbers even now since we
Yeah.
have been off for quite a bit. But
Yeah,
I
yeah, yeah.
remember like recently we were talking about um basically just like how much luxury bags in general have almost like surpassed art or watches sometimes. Like they're such good investment pieces because they do hold their value.
Yeah,
So I'd be curious to do like a 2025 check-in just to
yeah.
see like how that has changed since we kind of last spoke about it. But yeah, I mean it's like these bags are expensive, especially the, exotic skinned ones. But if you have the funds, they really are great investments. And even like if you track them online and secondhand and resale and whatever you can find. I mean, you just said you sold a Birkin for less than 10K. Like
Yeah.
that's really good.
Yeah,
That's really
yeah,
good. That's crazy.
yeah. And
I'm shocked actually.
I bought it for less than that. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
we made a good chunk of profit from that bag, I have to say.
Yeah.
So, and that's what I've learned in business too. if you don't make a lot of money on one piece, it eventually all does even out, or for
Yeah.
people that, we may have people that are curious about how to invest in these pieces because there is how do I say this? There's a precaution that one should take, I think, when calling these pieces investments, because it's still a luxury. You know what I mean? That
Yeah, good
it,
point. Very good point.
but it's with yeah, it tends to fluctuate. The only thing is we're living in a time and we are witnessing that these bags are outperforming the stock market. You know what I mean? Like in individual shares,
Yeah.
like you'll see a return on your investment disproportionately with a disproportionate return on your investment with these bags. Like they
Yeah.
were never meant to be sold
Yeah.
at this price, which goes back to yeah, no, which goes back to what I was telling you with the Galliano code, the woman was like um she was like, "Oh my God, how are you wearing this?" Da da da. And I'm like, "Ma'am, Galliano was broke when he made this collection, okay?
Yeah.
The I mean, I wrote it in the caption, he sits within the pantheon of one of the most influential designers of the 20th and 21st century
Absolutely.
for a reason, right? But imagine he'd
Yeah.
passed away in 1991. Let's just say, right? Or before his debut at Dior, which really changed the landscape
Oh my God.
for the house. Imagine he died before that. That coat would not be worth $118,000 now. You
No.
know what I mean?
No,
So
it would be maybe even worth what its original price was, which was what, like 175 pounds or something? What was the original on that?
the tailcoat that I wore was initially 500 pounds when it came out, and which,
Oh, okay.
yeah,
Yeah.
which translates to approximately I 2,000 to $2,500 US dollars today in 2025.
Which
So
is
it's still
what
it's
that jackets of that are going for now. Like luxury, you know what I mean? Like as
yeah,
a
500 pounds
contemporary shopper, yeah,
exactly.
that's a blazer.
Five
That's
exact
like
exactly
that's a
exactly.
luxury blazer.
It's a
Yeah.
luxury blazer. Some people earn that in 2 weeks. You know what I mean? And back then, the whatchamacallit, or like that's how much people make in a month. Like
Yeah.
sometimes, you know what, $2,500,
Yeah.
which
If that.
which makes sense because the parallel was when this 1985 jacket came out, 500 pounds was the average wage for a worker in London. So it was still
Wow.
expensive when it came out. However, and I did my investigative research for this because I really wanted to know the last time that a set of this collection from this collection sold from 1985, it sold for $118,000, and it was the vest, the tunic, the tailcoat, and I believe the
Yeah.
trousers. And the
Yeah.
Met bought it.
The full Luke.
The Met bought it.
Hmm.
Like the set came from Stephen Phillips. Yeah, it came from the
Hmm.
archive of Stephen Phillip, and then it was sold, and then it magically appeared at the Met 2 months later. So I looked at the
Funny how that
acquisition dates. I
happens.
looked at the I'm like, who bought it? Not even not
Yeah.
even which institution, what part of the institution bought it. It was the Friends of the Met. So they had to tell all of the people
Right.
at the Friends of the Met. The Friends of the Met, for the people that don't know, are the people that are members, the donors. So
Mhm.
it's people. I love people like the misconception is that museums just have money on hand, like here, like because they have
Yeah.
so many patrons. No, it's expensive to maintain a collection at a museum, regardless of
Ugh.
what it is. So, because sometimes you have
Yeah.
to,
The air conditioning in a museum. Think about those power bills.
yeah, yeah, no,
I
yeah,
think about that every time I go
yeah.
in a museum. I'm like, oh my God, it's so nice and cool in
The
here. And you look at
conservation,
the lights and you look at the conservation
yeah,
and the cleaning and the
yeah,
staff and the like
it's expensive.
it is not cheap.
So,
It's very expensive.
so to buy something with the funds from the friends of the Met, it's a long process. It's a very long process, and it can take up
Yeah.
to
It's like a
months.
board
Yeah,
almost,
yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah, yeah. because it's like, oh,
Yeah.
how are you using the funds, etc. Anyway,
Yeah.
but that's the, I want to say, going back to Sotheby's, I feel like that's the allure of the rarefied air around the pieces at Sotheby's, because there's incredible history,
Yeah.
besides the Birkin bag. There were pieces from Valentino haute couture that you'd only seen on Jackie
Mhm.
O. There was one of Audrey
Yeah.
Hepburn's Givenchy dresses was there. It was, you know, the
Wait, was that the black tunic with the like beaded like embroidered trim on the
no,
side?
the gown that's currently at Sotheby's is a Givenchy haute couture columnal, like, pink gown, and she wore it
Oh,
for
okay,
a
okay.
photo. And I was told that the estimate for it is around 30, I think it's 40 to 50K for it. Had she worn it in a
Yeah.
film, it would be triple that or
Oh,
more. Yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah. So
100%.
yeah, so
100%. Or if
it
she won an award in it,
oh
forget it.
yeah, yeah. Which
Yeah.
is so
Yeah.
it's so interesting. I love that you mentioned that, because, I think that only adds value. So what I'm doing is, I'm not, fuck trends, man. Like that, you know what I mean? Like, I'm not interested in that. I want to know what's going to pay off in 20 years. You know what I mean? I'm like,
Yeah.
what moments are we
Yeah.
witnessing now in our current history, in our current timeline, that are going to not only benefit society in the future by acknowledging what just happened, but also the financial motivation of it? You know what I mean? Like that's what I'm
Mhm.
like always like breaking things down as, like
Yeah.
approaching Sotheby's with my bum bag. I'm like, this is great optics for Pechuga. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
actually got in trouble with Sotheby's because I I mentioned,
Johnny.
no, not bad, but I mentioned that the bag
What did
was,
you do?
I mentioned that Jane Birkin's, I mentioned the value that the auction house had estimated the bag to go at. And but to my defense, I did see that Inside Edition said that the bag was going to be sold for $1 million. But Sotheby's politely asked me to retract my statement. And I was like, it's okay. I can delete the video and I can, repost it. I don't want anyone to get in trouble. And I
Yeah.
don't,
Yeah.
it was not, yeah, my friend was so funny. He was like, oh, you died on that hill real quick. I was like, that was a hill I was willing to die on. Yeah. So, but
Yeah, yeah, I mean, it's fine. We can re-edit, babe. It's fine.
yeah,
We can do a new voiceover.
absolutely. A fountain of knowledge, just make time for it. But yeah, Brooke,
Yeah.
it was intense. And I mean, just witnessing Birkin's Jane's bag, I think it I was told, and I can't say it here, but I was told, oh, we could cut it. One of the Olsons showed up to look at the bag.
Oh my
Yeah.
God.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Hmm.
So one of the Olsons was around,
Cool.
and I Deserve Couture was like, Hermès should be buying this bag back, because it's like, what are you doing? It's your legacy, like, you can't have
Yeah.
this floating around. So yeah, very interesting, very interesting, very, like, so much tied to this one piece of history. You know what I mean? And we go back to, like, the value of things. There's just things like, one of my friend's roommates was like, I can't believe you're charging this much for plastic. The acrylic breastplate, the Miyake breastplate, it sold for $54,000. It was plastic. You and I know
Yeah.
it was felt back plastic. That's not
Yeah,
what
but
you're,
everything is plastic
yeah,
now.
even ourselves.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
Did you
I think that that argument is so interesting because, like, now, even we've talked about this, like, even the luxury designers, the quality of things are coming down. Like, you know, a lot of the leather that brands are doing is faux, which is plastic. I mean, essentially. So it's just like you're paying for contemporary luxury, $3,000, $4,000, $5,000
Yeah.
for like a faux leather bag or like a faux leather jacket or something. And it's just like, okay, so 54 whatever $1,000 for an original like Isemiyaki breastplate.
Yeah. Yeah.
I know that that is kind of a weird, like skewed opinion, but I don't like that argument. I'm very like I'm anti-plastic, let's just say. Like I want to put
Okay.
that on the record. Like I don't like I'm not pro-plastic.
You know, okay,
but
or
that argument is silly.
you and Orlando Bloom, side note, because Orlando Bloom spends over $10,000 every I know. I know.
Is this gonna be Wait, actually, yeah, give it to me. Give it to me because I want to know where this is going.
Okay. So Orlando Bloom spends over $10,000 a month, um, basically like using this on methods to filter his blood out from microplastics. So yeah.
Meanwhile, you know what? This is such bullshit. We're gonna get real in season 3 here. Meanwhile, his wife is going to fucking space for 10 minutes. For what? This whole like fake health bullshit. I'm so over it. I'm
Oh my
so over it.
God.
Mama, you went to space. You guys own Bragg's like what is it, like the apple cider vinegar company? They like bought that like health food company. It's like, okay, you're spending
Wow.
that kind of money to like pull microplastics out of your blood. Give
Yeah.
me a fucking break. Talk to your wife first.
Wow. Yeah.
I mean, come on. Do you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
that's why I was like, I can't wait to see where this is going.
Yeah, I mean, my God, we were talking about Katy Perry this past weekend, or was it? Yeah, oh my God, was it Friday? Bitch. We were talking about Katy and, you know, I mean, whatever, right? We're getting into it, season 3.
We are.
Katie's like,
We
what did
are.
I do to
No
you?
filter.
Like,
We could go on about what she's done.
it's so funny because she's my client too. Like, Katie's my client. And but
Yeah.
I mean, whatever. It's like it's a free country for now.
Yeah, she can get dragged. It's
Yeah,
fine.
but yeah, oh my God. We were talking about, just how like easy it is to hate on Katy Perry, given I don't know, like I'm not a fan of just listening to music per se. Like I have to be in a mood or I have to be doing
Mm,
something, but I'll never sit down and listen to something and say, let me analyze this and let me listen to it with that intention. So I can't really say anything
sure.
on Katy
Yeah.
Perry's music. I'm just it's music for white gays, you know what I mean? And that's an
Yeah.
audience, but yeah, that whole like space like PR stunt, Eva Mendes, Eva Longoria was
Mhm.
on that boat, and people are calling for the the friends of the Bezos to talk to them about what influence they can have on the current
Yeah.
administration, you know what I mean? And I'm like,
Yeah.
you guys are in the same room, like you guys are at the table, and if you're hanging out with all of these like supposed liberals, then shouldn't some of these ideals align, I think, which is like what I find the
Yeah.
most frustrating, because we're not like, the protests from yesterday, No King's March, that I mean, people are protesting and taking to the streets because we see this as an affront to the very backbone that this country relies on, the Constitution.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah, man. But anyway, back to fashion.
Well, I was just gonna say related,
Yeah.
and I don't know the exact date. I think it actually might be this upcoming weekend. I
Okay.
have to look into it, but we all know, we've been known
Oh yeah.
that Jeff Bezos and Lauren Sanchez's wedding is upcoming in
Right.
Venice.
Right.
And I just read this like funny little article about it in Airmail Weekly. But I'm very curious about the guest list because we
Right.
know that they do have a lot of celebrity friends.
The
I
Pope
feel like
shows
it's going
up.
to be one of those things where I doubt the Pope is going. But I think it'll be real. I'm not I don't want to say I'm excited because I whatever, but I will say I am looking forward to seeing, yes, who's showing up and what they're wearing.
Right.
I think we're going to have a lot of fun dissecting the fashion at this wedding because I've had a lot of fun poking fun at Lauren Sanchez's fashion with like Inner
Bless.
Circle.
Bless.
Um,
Bless.
but yeah, the wedding's coming up, so we have a lot to
I'm like,
keep our eyes on.
babe, you can't have the guests upstage you. It's your moment. Like,
Yeah,
it,
yeah.
yeah, like Natasha Poonawalla, she went viral because she was wearing the Miyake breastplate on that boat on the
Yes.
bachelorette party.
On the Bachelorette, she wore it to the
Right.
Bachelorette party.
She wore it to
Yeah.
the in Paris, and she looked fantastic. She looked like,
Mhm.
I mean, people had their qualms about how she styled it, whatever. But, the Savoy Daily was the one who pointed out that she was wearing this breastplate. I mean, people had already been sending it to me throughout the day, but I was like,
Yeah.
all right, so maybe she was the one that bought it from us because that was the same color, same everything that as the same breastplate that we consigned with Sotheby's last November that they sold. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
and I asked
Cool.
Sotheby's, I asked them, I was like, did she buy it? And she was like, oh, we can't really say. And I'm like, oh, I appreciate that,
Can't say. So,
Yeah.
yes.
But so yes, she did. So Natasha, and then
Yeah.
it's very interesting because I've personally DM'd Natasha. That's why I knew who she was, like immediately. Like
Yeah.
we've worked with her in the past for the Met
Yeah.
Gala, like
Met Gala.
when
Yeah.
Carl was the theme, like the line of beauty. And
Mhm.
I sent
Mhm.
that bustier, I sent that breastplate to Kim Kardashian too. And so it's been
Yeah.
it was interesting because like for that moment, I found myself in the center of like so much attention with this piece because like Kim was on the boat, Ava was on the boat, Katie was on the boat, Natasha.
Yeah.
I'm like all of these Pechuga clients were on that boat, and I was like,
Yeah.
what the fuck, what? And then I started getting DMs, yeah. And then Kim Kardashian started following Pechuga, the Pechuga account, and
Oh shit.
after that, because I'm like, listen, man, like if like our distraction is fashion, that's what Carrie should fucking title her upcoming auctions, a distraction for fashion or fashion distractions, whatever.
Distraction for yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
so I'm like, I love where this is going. I love the fact that Miyake, not, I mean, yes, props to Natasha and all the women there, etc. But I'm like, the fact that we're talking yet again about Miyake and the relationship that he had with Grace Jones, let's talk about it. You know what I mean? And so
Yeah.
I took it upon
Yeah.
myself to start just writing. I wrote this really like funny caption about the Savoy Daily, Kim K, Natasha, and that prompted Kim K's friends to
Mhm.
reach out. Kim K reached out, and so yeah, it's like I want to say, I think you said it earlier. It's like the chances that we take as entrepreneurs and as our own businesses. It's like you have to invest in yourself, like continuously.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's I mean, you this past month, right? You've helped me out. Like you've invested in Pechuga. And I'm like, I'm so thankful. That's why we're talking again. Like it started with a Claude Montana blazer that you left here. And that's I love that. I think that if what we talk about, yeah, we talk about all these things on this podcast, but also hopefully you can find inspiration if you have an idea on how to start your own business, because I
Yeah.
think you and I talk about this all the time, the the pluses and the minuses, let's just put it like that.
Yeah, definitely.
So but it's been What have you been up to this week?
My God, I don't even know. No. This week it's been I mostly in the last like year or so, I guess since we last like spoke, I mostly now have pivoted into almost I want to say like 90% private client shopping. So
Mm,
with that, even with the film industry, which is a whole separate situation now, but there are peaks and valleys, there's busy times and slow times for every industry. But what I have kind of like noticed just in the last year or so doing more private client work is that everyone goes on vacation for summer, which we love. And so things have kind of started to taper off a little bit, which is fine. So I have mostly been, which is like so not exciting at all, but it is part of our business, right?
yeah,
I'm mostly right now in like admin mode. So
yeah.
I had an incredibly busy spring, like maybe the busiest spring I've ever had. So
Wow.
I'm still catching up on invoicing and bills and just like all these things that we have to deal with. It's like not it's not fun. It's like the other
Yeah.
side of what we do. But yeah, I'm kind of right now in like admin mode, and then
Mm,
I have one client who's getting ready to go for summer vacation, so we had a fitting. Well, I guess it was a couple weeks ago now. So just trying to get she's a uniform dresser, so it's, getting all the multiples ordered and set, and then figuring out, alterations and shipping and drop-offs and all kinds of, sort of more like logistical
right.
bits. So yeah, it's kind of like a mishmash, but that's sort of where I'm at right now. Yeah, that's kind of it. I think that's also why I'm like, what did I do? Because I've just been so,
Yeah.
like how you just like when you're an admin, it's like literally like data entry. It's like looking at receipts, tallying, expenses and reports and all that
Which
annoying
I
shit.
feel integral to having a business. Like if you want to measure,
Yeah.
this is how you
Yeah,
measure growth,
unfortunately.
you know? It's like
True.
this is how you measure
Hmm.
growth. You see it on your taxes, and that's how,
Yeah.
for me, for us, really, that's how we know how and where to reinvest all of our funds. Like where, what to
Yeah.
allocate, that's how we budget out for the year. So it's another portion of, having a business. Like I feel like why like we started this conversation right with us feeling like the podcast had become a job, and
Yeah.
the premise now and how we're doing it is we're just talking and then putting it out there, and
Yeah.
then it's like,
Yeah.
let's see what happens. That's it. I one of my yeah, one of my one I ran into someone in New York actually at a barbecue, and they were like, "Oh my God, I love the fitting room pod. Like I love the he was like,
Oh,
I subscribe." And I told you, right? I was like I was waiting for him to be like, "Where did you guys go?" Or like, "Why aren't you?" But he was like, "No, I love it."
yeah.
So I think a lot,
Yeah.
well, I mean, all of it is, we're in control of how we react to everything. And I feel like we as entrepreneurs, you have to be a little insane to want to do this for yourself, I feel. Like because
Yeah.
yeah, you you march at the beat of your own drum, and it's like, babe, like find the rhythm. You know what I mean? I feel like that's where I'm at, right? Like, find the beat.
Definitely.
Yeah, no, but I'm
No, that's no, I mean, there's something to that, right? Because it's like, yeah, okay, like whatever, continuing on the music metaphors, it's like when you're because our own whatever entrepreneurial rhythms and beats are so personal to us as collaborators, sometimes that beat doesn't match up and our schedules are crazy.
yeah,
This happens too with clients. It's like clients are like, well, hey, like I have this thing coming up. Like, are you around? Are you available? And it's like, babe, there's no way I can squeeze you in. It'd just
I
be a mess.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
It'd be so noisy. Do you know what I
yeah,
mean? And we also have to, kind of carve out little pockets of quiet, right?
yeah.
Just for our fucking sanity.
Yeah. No,
So,
absolutely.
it's been a quiet, literal, I think it's honestly been a year, where Fitting Room Pod has not been making music, let's
Has
say.
it been a
But now we're
year?
back. Season 3. Yeah, it's been a year. It's been a
Oh,
year.
dope.
I
I
think our
love
last
that.
episode was June last year.
I love
So
that.
we took a year off,
Yeah.
and
That's
new album, new season,
yeah, new era.
new era. Yeah,
Now
new
we're talking,
era,
yeah,
straight up, straight
crazy.
up.
I mean, it's like
But
the growth, it's like the measurement of growth, and
yeah,
we find ourselves doing exactly what we set out to do, and that's great. Good. Whether it be admin or,
yeah,
running around New York making content, like it's both,
yeah,
yeah,
doing cool shit.
doing cool. Well, I mean,
Meanwhile, I'm like,
hey, listen, okay, I wanted to lessen the blow here. I didn't want to like I wanted to tell the listeners that both are integral to the business. You can't have
they
you
are,
you
they
can't
are.
you know what I mean? It's like you can't have one without the other.
Yeah,
You can't gallivant around
yeah,
New
two
York and not have a
sides.
budget. So,
Amen, amen,
yeah.
amen.
Oh
Yes.
my God.
Oh
You're
my
so
gosh.
funny.
Well,
I
this has
love
been
this.
so fun.
Yeah.
We are at, yeah, we're just over an hour. So again, professional yappers.
We had our eat, love, pray year off. We're back, and
Yes.
the yapping
Yeah.
continues.
Yeah.
God. All right. Well,
Yes, what a treat. We will see you next week. And then yeah, for everyone that's I mean, I know we talked about the new era, but we are going on YouTube, so you'll be able to find us here, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you listen to podcasts, and now on YouTube,
yeah,
which we're
it's
very
funny.
excited about. So
The listeners are gonna receive a notification, for the ones that subscribe, like, oh, new episode out. I was like, these bitches are
yeah,
still here.
they're
Like,
gonna be like, what the fuck?
the fuck?
Back from the dead.
Right? Throwback.
Who?
I love it.
Oh my God, I love you. I'll see you
Okay,
later.
bye.